Hey, Nation, Harry here, back with Thomas Cole from PC Mover, Link, whatever you do by day. That's, by the way, that's a real background. That's not one of these Zoom backgrounds. That's Bellevue, Washington, a tech hotbed. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
So last time we talked, we started to talk about just the way work works, and it has certainly changed. And we agreed to meet up again. It's Q4, and let's talk about that. Since we last talked, I've been in conversations where the work from home, remote work initiative is still a thing. But I've been tracking a conversation about HR departments making salary adjustments. If you want to go live in, I don't know, a ski resort town in Idaho, do they have to pay you a Seattle salary? Seattle's expensive. I'm going to assume you might live in a cheaper place in a remote area, ski resort, whatever. Maybe not the best example. What are you hearing in terms of compensation and geography?
Well, I mean, certainly we are a small company, so we have not had these financial views on the world where you go, oh, we can save office space, we can save on salaries, etc. But I think there is certainly the very strong trend that people want to work from home. I think some of the surveys say that more than 60% want to continue to work at home. Some don't have the home office really available. But I think slowly, once we get into the post-COVID time, there will be also, besides the benefits, there will be also some negative things. And you're absolutely right. I think Mark Zuckerberg started the discussion already a couple of months ago, where he said, yes, you can work from home, but don't expect Silicon Valley salaries if you are living, in, somewhere out in the country. That will not work. And I think that today the view of employees is still, where I live doesn't matter. My salary is my salary. And that will be very tough discussion to have.
Yeah, I think so. Are there any other thoughts on the remote work thing? Again, we had a great discussion, you and I, recently. You're clearly in an office. You believe in offices and the collaboration and in-person stuff. But in the couple of months since we last talked, any other thoughts you'd like to share about this new way of work?
We're actually right now moving offices. So we're in a building that will be ripped down. This will be one of the new Amazon towers here in downtown Bellevue. So we have to move. And it was a long discussion. How much do we reduce? Because most of our people right now are working from home because of the COVID situation. And most of them say, oh, I like it at home. I don't have to commute. I'm more efficient. And all the good arguments that go with it. We decided to shrink the office a little bit, but we still want to make sure that everybody has a workplace. Yeah, even if it's a cubicle. Perhaps they might not have an office, a closed office, but they have a cubicle. Because I find it very important that you have a personal relationship also with a company and that you know where your place is. I think there is, a little bit of at the end of a loneliness in your home office, and you really don't have a place that you feel office home. And so we decided we'll spend more money on rent, but we want to make sure that some people come in, 2 days a week for meetings, 3 days a week. I probably think that except for some of the senior managers, there will be perhaps 4+1, like the government in DC. Friday is your work from home day. But, we have to still experience that.
Yeah, and we'll stay in touch. This is uncharted waters. I'll end on this. What was interesting is 10 plus years ago, a fairly senior person at Microsoft that we worked with in the Microsoft Response Point era, the small business telephone system they had for a while. The gentleman moved over to Cisco, and then he was able to finesse a situation where he sold his house on Sammamish Ridge, which is an expensive place to live on the east side, over by Bellevue. And he did move to Boise, Idaho, and bought a much cheaper house. I'm assuming he might have paid cash for it with all his equity. And he took his Cisco salary. He's still there. And that was leveraging, or maybe in the financial world, we call it arbitrage. But it was brilliant. And, this was over a decade ago. Now, the conversation you and I had, that exists. But that's going to be revisited in terms of the value equation, right? The HR departments, they're too smart.
Well, I think there are a couple other points that we have to raise. It's first of all, it's a more complex situation. But I do believe, and I talk with many other CEOs, and when we get together, for business talk or something, is that to initiate new projects is very difficult when everybody is remote.
Yeah.
It is more to maintain work versus new initiatives. And I think at the end, you have to more micromanage remote workers, because not everybody sits at home and says, what else can I do? How can I advance my career? So there are fears on career problems because you're not visible as much. Yeah, you can't show your initiative. You can't walk into your boss's office and say, I have this crazy idea. Do you have 5 minutes? You would not make a conference call and say, hey, can you spare 5 minutes? I mean, it just, the initiative, I think, goes down. And what we discussed before, not only is there a situation where perhaps the salaries might be, at least discussed, I think if people realize, oh, this works well, the same as we have in the overall economy, why doesn't the job flows to cheaper areas? The same as the whole US debates about, American jobs going overseas. Well, if I'm an architect, well, perhaps I'll hire the architect from Kansas City. Remotely, he might be from a grade school, but is living in Kansas City and might be cheaper, or in Oklahoma or in Texas, who knows? So suddenly my job security is not that great. I mean, here in Seattle, because we have Microsoft and Amazon, there are a lot of companies like Google, Facebook, they're all floating in Salesforce to steal the employees from the others.
Right.
Well,
right.
You don't have to do that anymore. You can do it from other places, but it also means that your own job security is not the same. And so I think there's a fallacy in the thing is, I'm thinking about, how can I work more efficiently? I think there's career issues. There might be employment issues, but it's not 100%. If only 5% feel, this is not working for me that great, that might have a negative effect. And then suddenly the financial side of it, HR, CFOs, they have to give way to the CEO to say, the company is not efficient anymore. We have to get better.
Yeah.
And I do remember, just the last word on that, remember the big controversy around Marissa Mayer when she said, all Yahoo employees back to the office. And everybody scolded her for being backwards or anything. IBM did the same thing. I think at some point you will say, the wheel turned. Maintenance was good. Oh no, it's slowing down. Where's the new initiative? Where's the communal creativity? And so I think it is not a question of just, I'm so great to work at home. I don't have to commute. I work so much more. There are a lot of other aspects to it. And I think over time in the post-COVID, we will get a much better feeling if this will work. But home office will stay.
No, it's always interesting to talk to you. We'll do it again on this topic as time passes, and you'll be in your new office space. So that's pretty cool. When will you be in your new office space? If you had to guess,
end of October. So end of
October.
Month. So we signed our lease. We're just moving a couple blocks away. So because there are a lot of course, companies that are giving up office space. So, we're in a very good position. A year ago, we said, the market is hot in Bellevue. How do we find? Now there's lots of office space available. You can get subleases. So it is all in a flux. But I'm just warning about to go, all the way in one direction, because it's very hard to pull them all back. If you give up your office, then suddenly you can't say, oh, let's go into the office. One more, if I still have 1 minute.
Go ahead.
One more aspect that we also have to realize, and that comes where we do a lot of work right now. So we are very lucky that the situation is actually bringing us work. The home office also has to be part of the corporate network. I mean, you can't just have your, you can't, like we do, people have 2 or 3 monitors. Oh, at home you work then with your laptop.
Yeah, I've got them right here.
And then at home you can sit on your couch with your laptop and all works fine. No, so you also have to establish a good home office with a corporate network. And VPNs are not very performant. So when with PC Mover, we set up a lot of remote home offices, because the software can be differently managed, but it certainly does not work through the VPN. And so suddenly we have a lot of remote offices. A lot of IT people have to bring new PCs there. They have to be installed. So PC Mover becomes the great tool for that, because we can actually manage these remote offices. But it's also a cost factor. If I suddenly have to pay for every employee's new laptops that are capable of taking multiple monitors, how do I connect it to the network so that it's very efficient? You can't just always have, from a security standpoint, a connection through the internet.
Tell me about it.
Right? Yeah, even if you have a great connection, it is not the secure connection, and IT people will bark about that you are not in the corporate network. There are certain things you can't do. Will you have your access to your mainframes? Will you have access to your banking application at home? The IT guys might say, no, you're not in a secure environment. So that's another issue that we have to think through. Certainly, we can help a lot of companies do that right now.
All righty. Well, thanks for your time. And like I say, love the real background in a Zoom world. And we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.